Well, this morning, a Mississippi man who has been tried 6 times for a quadruple murder is free on bail for the first time in more than 20 years. A judge ruled yesterday that Curtis Flowers could leave jail while prosecutors decide whether to drop the charges. Flowers has been convicted 4 times but maintains his innocence. The latest conviction was overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. Janet Shamlian is outside the courthouse in Winona, Mississippi. Janet, you were actually there at his release.
Jerika, good morning. We were. As he left the jail, these were his first moments outside of lockup in more than 2 decades, and Curtis Flowers was overwhelmed. Now, to be clear, this is not total freedom, but as he awaits a possible 7th trial, he can do so from home. What were your thoughts? Did you think this day would ever come?
Oh, I knew it would, but I didn't know when. Yeah, but I always knew it would.
49-year-old Curtis Flowers walked free for the first time in more than 2 decades, most of it spent on death row.
It's been rough. It's been rough. Yeah, we've been taking it one day at a time, you know.
This case is unprecedented in the history of the American legal system.
Flowers was tried 6 times for the same crime, a quadruple murder during a furniture store robbery in the small town of Winona, Mississippi.
The state has failed to convince this court that the proof of Mr. Flowers' guilt is evident.
Of the 6 trials, 2 resulted in hung juries. His convictions in the other 4 later reversed over misconduct by the prosecutor. His latest conviction was overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court in June, which ruled that prosecutor Doug Evans tried to keep African Americans off the jury. Tell me about having your brother home. What will that be like?
Very joyful, thankful, grateful. I'm still hurting, but now in 23 years he served as an innocent man. But for the 23 years that the family had to continue to go through this and relive this tragedy also.
An anonymous donor paid $25,000 to secure Flowers' release on bail. His attorney has filed a motion to have the case dismissed to avoid a 7th trial. Ahead of that decision, Flowers will be confined to his home and wear an electronic monitor. A taste of freedom he's still trying to comprehend.
I'm so excited right now. I can't even think straight. It's
worth noting that no one has been held accountable for those 4 murders, and those families are still suffering. At the bail hearing, Flowers' attorney said that there's new evidence that points to at least 3 other possible suspects. We reached out to the prosecutor's office to see how it intends to handle this going forward, but have not heard back. Tony?
Janet, thank you very much. 4 convictions, but all of them overturned, so effectively none.
Right. I think Curtis's sister makes a really good point, too, Tony, that it doesn't just affect him, it affects the whole family. A lot of people don't think about that. So he's not totally free, but it's got to feel great.